Konbanwa, James this. Good evening, this is James. And Mike wanted me to talk a little bit about how to meet people and make friends that like metal also. Hopefully I'm also going to talk a bit about how to find metal, or for that matter, whatever other type of music you like. A few weeks ago I went back to the States for a week and a half, and while I was there I didn't even know about it until right after it happened, but one of the longtime radio stations of Boston, WBCN 104.1, went off the air to be replaced by some crappy mix station. So it's actually made me think a lot about how to find music that you like. FM radio, at least the kind that I grew up with in the 90s, does not exist here. The kind of radio I grew up with in the 80s and the 90s, it doesn't exist in Japan. DJs talking over songs, as far as I understand it. You're not going to find, like, college radio stations, like REM, for example. REM first got big on college radio. You wouldn't have anything like that happening here. In this day and age, probably the best way to find music that you like is, well, I guess Google, YouTube, Myspace. Myspace has become completely expected and normal for a band to have, for a Japanese indie band to have. Most Japanese indie bands of any kind, metal, what have you, have their own Myspace. A few have their own YouTube channels, but that's much rarer. Myspace is just practically common right now. After you've found a band that you like, the next step is to, hey, try and go see them. If you're in Japan, that is. If you're in Japan, go and see them. If you're not in Japan, the next thing you gotta try to do is find a way to buy their stuff. Because so many Japanese bands, be they metal or grunge or what have you, they need the money because no one, or almost no one, in Japan makes good music for a living. So if you have a chance to buy a band CD, or if you by any chance you can find them on iTunes, buy their stuff. Yeah, you can download for free in this day and age, but hey, you're making a choice there. If you download stuff that you like, then, hey, the stuff that you don't like will be making more money. Think about that when you download something. So, once you found a band that you like, if you're not in Japan, find a way to buy their stuff. Either if it's on iTunes or Amazon. Amazon Japan ships overseas, as far as I can tell. I haven't had personal experience, but I've heard that they do ship overseas. Make friends with them over MySpace or what have you. Make contact with them. Say, hey, I live in the States, or I live in Poland, and I want to buy your stuff. How can I buy your stuff? English will usually get across. If they don't understand it themselves, they'll run it through a translator, like a Babelfish program of some kind, and they'll find someone who can read it. But yeah, make friends with them if you can. Tell them you want to buy their stuff. And hey, you'll hopefully get a friendship out of that. If you're in Japan, and you found music that you like, well, if you're in Japan, all you really need to do is to get a foothold. You need a beachhead, a foothold. You need one band. You just need to find one band that's good enough for you to follow around and see all of their shows. That's all you need, is one band to start. And even if you don't know anyone there, even if you don't know anyone in the live house, and live house is, by the way, of English that's in Japanese, and I didn't realize until a few years ago that it's only in Japanese, but live house is what you would call a venue in America. All you need to do is find one band and follow them consistently. Go to as many of their shows as you can. And a typical night at a live house in Japan is 5 bands. And if you go to see your one band, then hopefully you'll see other bands that you like, and you start following them, and then you meet other bands that you like, and before you know it, you're going to see live house shows about 4 or 5 times a week. Once you go to enough of these shows, then you start running into the same people. A lot of bands have a small number of core fans that go to every single show. You start seeing the same faces, and you start learning the names, and you start talking to them. Before you know it, you've gotten friends who like the same music. So don't be afraid to go to a show if you don't know anyone there. You'll meet people, eventually. Might take a while, but you will meet people and you will make friends. So, and I think I've said this before, if you want to learn Japanese, find music that you like, whether it's metal, whether it's anything that you don't see on TV so much, grunge, what have you. Find what you like.
Another place, keep in mind, definitely want to point out, you should check out, let's say you're in Japan, it's in Kanagawa, prefixture. The bar is named Rock Bar Rumble. Caters to heavy metal and rock theme kind of bar. It's definitely old school. It's actually owned by the guy Angry from Gunship 666. It's pretty cool. You can see the pictures right there. I'll definitely put a link on the sidebar where you can find the place, and then you can be the judge yourself. Definitely check out this place. Check out the band. I'll put the links on the sidebar. Also, let's say you want to listen to some Japanese radio, because as ElevenColors did point out, it's very hard. I actually found a website, Mumix. You can listen to rock, alternative music, whatever you want to listen to. They do play some metal. If I find another link, I'll post another video attaching to this, so you can find other places to find, other metal artists. As I had in a previous video, go check that out. If you haven't checked out yet, it's with Unrested. There's a link to all these bands. My upcoming video next in this series will be talking about these bands and talking about folk metal and whatnot. From folk metal to black metal to gore, grind, core metal, to hardcore, to anything in between. I will be discussing this, and until next time, thrash on.